Welcome to IPT2, guys, and this week's podcast. So, this week it's all about building a body. I'm sure most people have heard the term bodybuilding. We're going to talk about building a body. What does that mean? This is the big debate just now that I'm starting to see online between all the big celebrity fitness influencers. They're all having a go at each other because there is this kind of clash of images out there that people want to have six packs, look lean, and look at their best aesthetically. And it's causing a lot of people to have unhealthy practices, to take up things that maybe they wouldn't have. Uh, and again, that's where like bodybuilding might come into this topic of conversation. And bodybuilding isn't bad in itself. It's a competitive sport. It's a good thing. It's where people go to showcase their bodies. And yes, there is caveats to it being unhealthy as well. If people are prone to maybe having disorders, like eating disorders, or have had one in the past, then bodybuilding isn't the best outlet for the creativity they may have when it comes to fitness because it could create other, let's just say, eating disorders. It can also cause body dysmorphia. A lot of the time, males and females will have eating disorders and body dysmorphia, but that's because of social media. Social media has brought in this everybody must look at their peak at all times, and it's pushed a lot of people into doing competitions because they think that having a competition under their belt or winning some kind of competition regionally is going to make them look like they are legit. And in my eyes, it doesn't mean anything if you've won a competition. Is great and well done to you, but it is going to be from the perspective of the judges. And the judges all the time change what they're looking for. They change from wanting to have really fuller glutes to wanting to have a tighter waist. And from region to region, you're going to get judges who have different uh, scorecards for what they think is going to be the best looking body. Bodybuilding will always be a subjective and perspective based sport, which means whoever wins, and let's take Mr. Olympia for instance, whoever wins Mr. Olympia, there's always going to be people who think there's other people who look better. There's going to be people who think the classes look different. Like Sebum is going to be better looking than what Phil Heath ever did. And that is again going to be opinionated. We cannot do anything about that. Some people will think Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be the best bodybuilder of all time, and that's the look that everybody should aspire to. But he looks completely different from what we have now winning the Mr. Olympia because times have changed and so has the judging. So when we talk about building a body and the views that are going back and forth online just now, we really want to be focused on health. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaway factors from doing any kind of training because technically, if you're in the gym and you're trying to change your body, you are a bodybuilder by just default. You're not in the sport of bodybuilding, but you are doing bodybuilding because you're trying to change your body, especially if you are trying to build muscle. If you're in the gym just doing some running, I wouldn't class that as bodybuilding. If you're in the gym and you're using weights and you're trying to sculpt and change your body, no matter what your level is, you are a bodybuilder by definition. So when we talk about building a body, we should be looking at the bigger picture here. Now, as I get a little bit older, I'm in my 39th year, heading into my 40th. I've trained since I was young, very, very young. In fact, the first kind of training sessions I remember undertaking, I must have been about 3 or 4. Uh, and I don't mean like with weights, because that's obvious the conclusion that people will jump to. I didn't start touching weights until I was maybe 13, 14, and that was out of necessity. That wasn't because I was forced to. I had an injury, I had to do rehab, and it required me to build the muscle back. So from a young age, I've been training, I've been coached, I've been in different sports. I've seen the best of myself, I've seen the worst of myself because of good and bad coaching, good and bad advice. And now heading into my 40s, it's not a case of I don't want to get my body to look any better aesthetically. But once you get past your teens and 20s and you're in your 30s, hopefully you will have come to the realization that health is the biggest factor. Not looking good when you take your clothes off, but the overall build of your body. Can your body function every day for what it's supposed to do? Now, I am not talking about if you're an office worker and you can tippy tap away on your keyboard, because anybody can do that. Can your body go up and down flights of stairs? Can it walk to work if you didn't have a car? Could you run 10K? Now, there's going to be loads of different health measurements out there, but you have to decide what ones are for your body. Now, in my 30s, I've ran marathons, ran lots of half marathons, but it wasn't my metric about how I felt about myself and my health, because my health wasn't always the best doing all that running. I did, however, get to eat a lot of food. I did, however, look more muscular, but actually had less muscle. So for me, I've always been, since I had that bad accident back in the day, I've always been a bit of a bigger build, and that's fine. I am happy with that. But I haven't always been the leanest person in the world. I've had stages where I've had six packs. I've had stages where I would probably consider myself able to step on stage, but I never did because it was never about trying to be a bodybuilder. It was never about anything but the enjoyment of training until I hit that kind of stage in my life where I knew something had to change. And that was roughly when I was in my mid 20s, when I knew I was not healthy anymore. I couldn't go up a set of stairs without getting out of breath. I didn't have the power to not hold on to the handles when going upstairs. I couldn't walk the length of my street without there being huffing and puffing. I was not fit. I was not a fit person. I was eating badly and making a lot of bad choices. So now when we see all this online about, you know, you shouldn't be doing any kind of exercise because it doesn't help you lose weight, it's all nutrition. That's true. There is that factor. You know, you could just eat food and not lose, well, you could lose weight if you just didn't eat a certain amount of food. if you were within your calories, minus some. If you didn't go to the gym though, and you just relied on food to help you lose weight, you would end up not really, well, not having the body you really want as a starter. But obviously, as health metrics go, you'll probably not be very fit. You'll probably not be able to carry your shopping. Is that a metric we should be looking at when we're building a body? Can you carry a couple of shopping bags up and down stairs? I personally don't know what the answer is for people because we've got so many people out there giving so many opinions that it's becoming really hard to cut through the BS because every time you do, there's another person popping up to say something against what you're saying. So now it just really comes down to who puts their opinion across the best. And I saw this, it was a very short interview with a person called Herb Dean. And Herb Dean is one of the referees in the UFC. And if you don't know what the UFC is, it's the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And there was a fight where Herb Dean had to break the fighters because somebody kicked too low. So just like boxing, you wear shorts and the person got kicked right on the hip, which is a blow that really shouldn't have happened. So Herb Dean stepped in, said, was everything okay? And the fighters gave the thumbs up, and then a fighter got knocked out straight away. A lot of people, especially the commentators, said that Herb Dean did wrong. But as the fighters indicated, they both gave the thumbs up and were ready to fight. And unfortunately, the person that got knocked out just happened to get knocked out. That didn't mean Herb Dean didn't do his job correctly, but the commentators gave such a good argument that he had done wrong that that's what people believed. Even though they saw it with their own eyes, they heard it with their own ears. And that's what's starting to happen in the fitness industry. We're starting to see all these opinions, and it's really what opinion you believe. And as a general population, if you are somebody who's not in the fitness industry listening to this podcast, then you're probably going to be thinking, right, I don't know much about fitness. I hear what that person said. That sounds right to me. And you don't go and do the scientific research behind it. And that's bad. That's where we start to fall into potholes, into places we don't want to be in fitness. And it is up to fitness professionals really to discard a lot of this information so we can build better bodies. A lot of the time we need to look behind what the person's saying to the companies and the people who are paying them to say it. So many times we're now seeing celebrities and fitness professionals who are in that kind of status or influencer space selling something and not being quite upfront about it. They are saying things and they are not upfront about what they are saying because they're selling a product in the background. Like I just mentioned with the person talking about you don't have to do training, you don't have to exercise to lose weight. And that's what all the studies prove. Well, yes, that's true. But if you look more at what that person was talking about and go into the background of it, they're trying to sell you a glucose monitor. They're trying to sell you a service that they've basically scaremongered you into. That's not what personal training should be. That's not what helping somebody build a better body is about. We should be looking at the aspects that keep us fit and healthy daily and supporting the clients in their goals. We shouldn't be looking at the next big thing to sell somebody or supplements to sell somebody. The supplement industry is rife with this kind of stuff, and it always has been. Lots of big bodybuilders have always put their name to protein or protein powders to say this is the best protein powder ever, but it's just another protein powder with some additives. It will help, but you could also eat chicken and beef and pork. And if that's not your bag and you want to help your muscles, you want to get a little bit more of them, creatine is another big supplement. But again, like if we look at how many people sell creatine and how many people say theirs is the best, it's all just trying to get you to part with your cash. Do you need creatine? Possibly. You'll never know. You've not had your genetic testing done. I fortunately have. And that's a whole different podcast. That's a whole different conversation. But when you get your genetic testing done, it can tell you if your body actually needs a bit more creatine, if your genetics are prone to needing it or not. Uh, I've had creatine in the past and I didn't really feel that it benefited me a lot. And it turns out I don't really need creatine. It doesn't give me great benefit to use it. So that's a supplement I don't need to buy anymore. And again, getting the genetic testing done helped me understand certain things about my body, but it also helped me to build a little bit of a better body. So I now understand the scheme of reps and sets that are better for me so that I can do that type of training and maximize how my body takes load. Uh, I can build a body that functions for what I needed to do. So if you're a personal trainer, what is it you need your body to do? Now, if you're a bodybuilder and you're a personal trainer, cool, that's what you've chosen to do. It's probably going to mean that your classes are not going to be the best classes in the world because you like bodybuilding. You're probably not going to be the best cyclist in the world. You're probably not going to be the best martial artist in the world because you've chosen bodybuilding. That's your specificity. Now, if you're a personal trainer and you want to get lots of clients, you might be very personable, but functionality of your body is what we're looking at here. And you need to build a body that probably suits your personality type, which is classes. You know, can you get good at all the various classes that you need to perform? And maybe you don't do classes in your gym, maybe you're just a personal trainer. And in that case, then having a really good physique will probably be very attractive to people looking for your services. But is that what you need to function as a person? You know, like I said earlier on, can you carry the shopping up the stairs? Can you reach to the top shelf? Do you have the flexibility to get up off the floor and it not be a hassle? Can you do certain things that you need to do during the day? We come from hunter gatherers. We know this now. The human body was never meant to sit down most of the day. It was meant to be active. And now we only have it active for a couple of hours a day if we're lucky. A lot of us don't have active jobs. And if you do have an active job, great. Think about the functionality of your body for that job. If you're a labourer or you work on a construction site and you need to lift heavy things, do you have your technique correct? Can you deadlift in the gym well? These are things that are transferable. And I think when we look at building a body, we need to look at that kind of aspect. Can you pick up a heavy load from the floor? How many times do we see people doing farmers carries in the gym nowadays, or even a grip hold, or using certain functional equipment like kettlebells? I don't see Bulgarian bags as much as I used to when I first started in the gym. I don't see sandbags as often. I do see core bags, which are a different version of sandbags, but I don't see a lot of them. I don't see people using kettlebells in dynamic manners. I very rarely see a kettlebell swing in the gym. I don't see the TRXs anywhere anymore. They've kind of disappeared, and they were great if you were looking to up the ante in your training. I don't see power plates anymore. Power plates are almost disappearing from gyms, and they are amazing if you know how to use them. So when we look at building a body and all these things are disappearing, and we're now condensing down to things like body weight training. We've seen the kind of uptake of high rocks. We've seen, and high rocks is great because there is a lot of functionality work in that, but it's not for everybody. Although it does say it is for everybody, it's not. Some people are going to really struggle with their fitness when it comes to that. Doesn't mean they can't do it and can't work towards it, but it isn't going to be accessible to everybody straight away. CrossFit is still extremely popular. Again, these things create almost like a family and the competition that people want. But do they help you build a body? I would still say that the biggest factors are going to be your nutrition and what you put into yourself. You literally will be made by the stuff that you put into your body. If you're putting low quality food into your body, you're going to feel low quality, believe me. If you're not getting enough protein, you probably won't be able to sustain the muscles that you're trying to build in the gym. Uh, Again, the factors are all there. We know this. At this time of year in Scotland, where I am, it's starting to get dark, starting to feel really wintry already. Not every day, but the past few days. And where's your vitamin D? One of the most important vitamins that we won't get, and obviously has a lot to do with the sad epidemic we have across not just Scotland but the UK. So that's a supplementation you might want to look at when it comes to having a better body, because vitamin D also has other functionalities in the body. It helps with fat loss in a way. So look into these things, look into the science fact behind what people are telling you. I'm not trying to sell anything apart from the personal training courses we provide, obviously. But we do want to offer the correct information to people out there. We will try where we can find that information for you and make it available. There is obviously always going to be clients who just don't care. You know, they're going to go and do their own thing. But as a personal trainer, you should be equipped with facts. You should be equipped with science. You should be equipped with anything that you can do to persuade the clients, because that is one of your jobs, to get away from these things. And I think we've done a pretty good job of it over the past few years, because if we look way back before the pandemic, we had things like Herbalife on the rise, and they've kind of taken a back seat now. I don't hear so much about them. We still hear about Weight Watchers and all these other dietary uh, institutions, for want of a better word, and they're still peddling their form of science. Like if you mush a banana, it's less calories than the banana that you just had. So you know that sounds dodgy to me. The point system for food, that's not how food works. That's causing people to have bad uh, connotations with food. We don't want to work within those systems. We don't want our clients working within those systems if we can help support them away. So, to help them build a better body, I think we need to do more as personal trainers. Educate your clients, send them a newsletter, give them support, give ex clients support. We're now in a day and age where you can have email lists and send out your clients information. Your ex clients can get information too. They don't have to be in the same email list. You can do two separate emails. That's okay. You can have text messaging support with your clients. You can have Facebook groups. You can have all sorts of things set up for clients these days. And the reality is, a lot of the clients will still do what they want to do unless you can persuade them otherwise. So that's where that support is needed to help them build that body. And when it comes to the health markers for each individual you work with, you should really be looking at their life and what would be more important to them. Is it important that they get a personal best in glute bridge? Or is it important that they have a healthy, strong core, their blood pressure has come down, their waist size has come down, they have better resting heart rates? Are these not more beneficial things than having a nice bum or having six pack abs? And sure, maybe along the way you might achieve these other things on the journey to six pack abs and getting a nicer bum. But typically, when things aren't the focus, they tend to go out the window. One of the big things we try to teach at IPT is the consultation process. And that's where these things like resting heart rate can be taken, and you can keep that for your clients, that information. And then in the future, you can then provide that information and see where it's going. Is it getting better? Because if the health markers are getting better, that to me says you're probably building a better body. If your blood pressure has went down and you don't have high blood pressure anymore, if you have ailments that no longer are ailments because your body is stronger, more resilient, and better, you've done a good job in building a body. A body is not about having six pack abs, a nice bum, looking good naked, attracting a partner. These are not the big factors in life. What the big factors are is, how long are you going to live? Are you going to be able to have good mental health about your body? Are you going to be able to be comfortable in the body you're living in? Can you live every day to the maximum? And can you help and support other people in the way that you want to? And I would say, from being somebody who was extremely heavy to being somebody who is in relatively okay shape, I would say now I can definitely help and support people better because I worked on that body. I might not be able to do Olympic lifting as well as I'd like to, but that's something I can work on as well. I can still coach it well. So, in a kind of roundup, I think it's best to kind of see this argument for what it is. We aren't really talking about bodybuilding, we're talking about health. We're talking about building a body that's healthy. And more, that's what clients ask for when they do consultations. They aren't really looking for a six pack. They just come in and they say, I want to be fitter, I want to be more healthy. And we have to look at those biomarkers We have to look at the person themselves and how happy they are in the body they're in and what aspects they might want to adjust. You know, just because we think somebody has a little bit of a belly doesn't mean that they aren't comfortable with that belly. It doesn't mean that their husband or wife doesn't like that belly. It could be that they want to tone up their arms because their arms are the focus. Humans are humans. We'll have all different opinions, perspectives, likes, wants, and things that we can do to help each other. And really, when we open up this question of building a body, it should be really about health. Sure, if you want to be a bodybuilder or a competitive bodybuilder, go for it and all the best to you. But make sure you get the proper support. Make sure you're not just getting support off of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Make sure that you are supported to do anything that you want with your body because we should know as personal trainers, help and support is warranted, justified, needed a lot of the time. And I'm sure as a personal trainer, you might think, I don't need help and support. I can make my own workouts. But how close are you to your own goals? And how long have you been after that goal? And if the answer is you're not close and it's been a while you've been after that goal, then maybe you should be looking at hiring a trainer to do what you're asking. Because sometimes when we look at it from our own perspective, for our own training, it doesn't help. We need that outsider perspective. And that's why personal trainers work so well for other people, but sometimes not themselves. So, something to think about, something to take on board, something that it might not be your bag. You might be somebody who likes to train strength and conditioning. You might be somebody who coaches soccer. It doesn't matter what you're doing. There should really be an aspect of health in there. The actual person being looked after. And I really wish some of my coaches would have been more forthcoming in that department. I got played when I had lots of injuries, and it was because I was quite good at the sports I did. But then I ended up injured, and then I ended up having a very serious injury. We don't want that for clients. We don't want that for ourselves. So having that humility to sometimes say, right, the person wants a six pack, but let's look after their health on that journey. Let's make sure that the way we do their calories isn't just getting them on really low calories so it comes quickly and then disappears just as quick. Let's do it in the manner it's supposed to be done, slow and controlled. People think that you should just lose weight really fast and that you should put muscle on really fast. Muscle takes time and patience to build. Fat loss should be the exact same. Any goal that's worth doing is worth doing right. And any goal that's worth getting is going to take you time. Sometimes that's going to be longer than other goals. So bear that in mind when you are devising your training, when you're having the conversations with clients, and let them know the amount of time it's actually going to take to achieve what they want to achieve in a healthy manner, not in a manner that can be done fast. We all know that you can lose like 7 and 8 pounds a week, but that's because somebody's extremely heavy and they've lost a lot of water and potentially muscle and other tissue. And then that £7 is not sustainable. for every pound that you want to lose per week, you need to be in a minus of 3,500 calories. But you can't be in that minus all the time because it takes its toll on the body. And this is me just having a conversation on building bodies. This is not just focused on weight loss. If you want to build muscle, you need to be in a surplus. Think about that. Think about how much you need to eat to build muscle and why some of that energy we're putting into our body doesn't go to the muscle and you end up having a little bit of extra weight. There's so many nuances to goals that people want. But again, if we're looking at building better bodies, are we also looking at the health factors that come with them? Now, I think I'll round things up there. And really, I wish that everybody stays fit and healthy. I don't really want people to come to this podcast and not realize that this is supposed to be help and support. I want you all to go away and think upon these things and not just take my word as gospel. I want to make sure that you understand that the concepts that you might be employing for some of your clients might be harmful, might not. It might be driving their blood pressure up. It might be increasing the resting heart rate of your client if you're not doing things properly. These are all things that are controllable. We can control these things through exercise and through advice and obviously getting the clients on board for what they should be doing outside of the hour they're with us. So in kind of conclusion, go and have a think about your own practices. Are they good for the people that you work with? Not just that you've created some amazing training programs, not that you've just given good advice, but has the people you've worked with in the past or now, have they built a better body, or have they built a body and then lost it? That's going to be the difference between good coaches and bad coaches. And I don't mean bad coaches. Probably just coaches who could get better. Because if what you've said and imparted to a client hasn't been taken on board, then you've not really done your job, especially if they haven't done it in the long run. Can you say that all your clients have taken it on board? I'll quite happily admit that not all of mine have. I would say as a young personal trainer, I was still learning a lot, and some of the clients probably didn't take on board because I didn't put things in the right manner to them. And so they probably didn't get the full benefit of the support I can now offer. And now looking at my clients, because I can still see them on social media and the people who I've offered advice and stuff to, a lot of them still have good bodies. They seem healthy and happy and where they want to be in life. So maybe think about that next time you are looking at your clients or ex-clients. Have they got some happiness in life from training with you? Have they built a body that they are happy with now and can keep it consistent that way? We've all got things in life that can change that, but it's something to consider. It's something to think about. And if the answer is no, then maybe there's some changes to be made to the way that you do things. Until next time, guys, I hope you've all had a great time listening to this podcast and me just whittle on. But if you would like a topic covered, or if you'd like to discuss this topic more, or if you just need some help and support, please contact us and let us know. Until I see you again, take care and take care of all your clients too.